Okay, it is 3 o'clock, and I'd like to welcome everyone to Fair Housing Coach's Coffee Break Quiz. I'm Heather Stone, Executive Editor of the Habitat Group, which publishes Fair Housing Coach. Today's quiz is on screening applicants for criminal histories. And I'll let you know that we're going to present 5 questions. They'll pop up on your screen as poll questions, and you'll be able to answer anonymously, true, false, or multiple choice. And after we've given some time for people to answer, we'll go over the results. 50% say true, 50% say false. And then we'll turn to our guest speaker today to give us the correct answer and explain why it's the correct answer. But before I introduce our guest speaker today, I'd like to let everyone know that we're not going to be using some of the usual webinar features like raise your hand or the Q&A box, because I'll just be focusing all my attention on our speaker and the poll questions. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to hear from you. If you do have questions about today's program, please send them to me at hstone@thehabitatgroup.com, and I'll try to get back to you right away, or we'll address your questions in an upcoming issue of Fair Housing Coach. And without further ado, let me introduce our speaker today, Ann Sadovsky. Ann has been in the apartment industry for 5 decades and is a former VP of Marketing and Education for Lincoln Property Company. Her credentials include NAAEI Advanced Facilitator, CAM, and CAPS. She has earned a Texas real estate license and certified speaking credentials from the National Speakers Association. She was named one of the top trainers in the industry by Multi-Housing News, and both the Brainstorming Conference and the Apartment Association of Greater Dallas have honored Ann with Legends Awards. She is a contributing writer for many publications, and she serves on the Board of Advisors of Fair Housing Coach. Welcome, Ann, and thank you so much for being with us today.
And thank you for inviting me, Miss Heather, and hi, everybody. Welcome on board. I always love to begin with my little you'll get more out of if, and I have to do a little disclaimer as a reminder that I am not an attorney. I do not give legal advice. Even the attorneys are saying we don't give legal advice on these webinars. Just to kind of get everybody covered, I spend at least 5 hours a day, at least 5 days a week researching fair housing and what's happening, and I'm on all the, I must get 20 emails a day and posts a day. So I'm trying to stay on top of everything, as is Heather and Fair Housing Coach. And so with all of that, I will just ask you, if you can, for 15 little minutes to put aside your phones, get off your technology. If you're in a group, try not to talk to each other. Don't get sidetracked, because I may say something absolutely brilliant and then you would miss it. So please try to stay focused, and please make notes as we go through so that we can answer questions for you either as we go or preferably at the end quickly. So Miss Heather, what are we addressing first?
Okay, I'm going to launch the first poll. Criminals are a protected class under the Fair Housing Act. True or false? Okay, we'll give people a few seconds to respond here.
Yeah, I was going to say, please respond quickly. And
okay, I'm going to end the polling, see what the results are. Okay, 26% said true and 74% said false. Ann, what do you say? Are criminals a protected class under the Fair Housing Act?
They are not. We have a ruling regarding criminal background and felonies. But as far as protected classes, please remember they are race, color, national origin, religion, gender, sex, familial status, and people with disabilities. So no, they are not actually a protected class. That's the answer to that.
Okay, let's move on to question number 2. Here we go. This is multiple choice. A prospective resident says he was arrested for rape, but not convicted. What should we do? A, deny his application because rape is a violent offense. B, if he looks innocent, you have the option of disregarding the arrest record. C, if the arrest occurred within the past 5 years, deny his application. D, if screening confirms that he wasn't convicted, don't deny his application based on the arrest record alone. Okay, we'll give some people some time to answer. We should have some theme music for the Jeopardy theme music.
I was going to say da 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 da.
Okay, I'm going to end the polling. And the results. 3% say we should deny his application because rape is a violent offense. No one thinks we should just go based on looks. C, if the arrest occurred within the past 5 years, deny his application. 6% said that. And most people, 91%, said if screening confirms that he wasn't convicted, don't deny his application based on the arrest record alone. Anne, what do you say?
The answer, and you are smart boys and girls, because your answer is correct, that we do not deny occupancy or decline taking an application based on arrests. Now, your alarm goes up if he tells you he was arrested for rape, because it is a violent crime. And this is one where and let me just remind all of you of this. Anybody can fill out an application. Anybody can pay an application fee. When you get phone calls or inquiries that say, I've been accused of, I've been arrested of, or I've been in prison for, don't have a personal opinion. Don't assume anything. Don't pop off your mouth like, oh my God, no, you could never live here. And I know you're smarter than that, but hey, it happens. So just remember that we don't go based on arrest. And if you are using a third party, which 99% of us are, to review your applications and to run the background checks and to run their rental history, whatever else, they know what to do. They know how to deal with it. But here's what's important if you're running it yourself. If you always run credit and criminal background, rent paying habits, et cetera, a lot of times those will make you not even have to address the criminal background, because if they can't qualify for those, this is a little off criminal background story, but I'll tell you a really quick one. I got an email a couple of weeks ago from a young lady who said, we have an applicant for an apartment who has a 155-pound pig as her service animal, and we don't know what to do. And I said, okay, slow down. Number one, pigs are farm animals, and HUD says no to that. And you run all of her application before, and then if you have to deal with her about the farm animal, I will give you the right words to say. I will coach you through that. She called me the next morning and said, well, she couldn't pass, so she wasn't able to pay the rent, so we don't have to deal with it anyway. So, and I'm not putting felons in the same category with 155-pound pigs, but it's a similar situation. So,
pardon me for 1 second. I'm going to make that beeping stop.
Okay. I will share these words with you. I'm going to be encouraging you to have a script for all of these type things. I'll give you just a quick example of that, Heather. Our company follows all fair housing laws. We provide equal housing opportunity for all qualified applicants. However, because we have an interest in protecting our residents and others who live in the community from crime, we may, depending on the nature of the crime committed, how long ago that it occurred, the specific facts involved, the likelihood of someone committing another crime, and other factors, we may deny an application based on prior criminal history. You are welcome to come by, fill out an application, and discuss your individual situation. And all of my clients are using, don't be embarrassed to have a script. Your company has to, now don't run out and just do what Ann said. I always have that Ann said. Everything we talk about has to be run by your company or your company attorney or your owners or all the above. But I encourage you to have a script so that you answer intelligently and with power like that, but not being offensive. I also want to encourage you to speak to them when they call on the phone or they walk in the door as you would any other applicant, that you don't freak out about, and I'll tell you another story on that one. Let's finish our polls.
Okay, I'm going to launch the third question. A resident's daughter is getting out of prison and wants her to move in. You should ask her, and you can check as many of these answers as you wish. You should ask her, A, to promise not to commit the crime again. B, ask her what crime she committed. C, ask her, did they have it coming? D, ask her how long ago she committed the crime. Or E, which character she most identifies with on Orange is the New Black. Okay.
I can't wait to see if anybody checks E.
Okay, I think people are still answering. I'll give it a few more seconds. Okay, I'm going to close the polling. And let's see. Whoops. Okay, so 2% said we should ask her to promise not to commit the crime again. 73% said we should ask what crime she committed. No one picked, did they have it coming? So that's good. And D, 90% chose how long ago she committed the crime, and no one watches Orange is the New Black or cares about it.
That's right.
Good.
Or if you watched it, you may not remember. So. So you guys, again, are very savvy. If they ask you for more specifics, in general, you can say we don't deny a rental application. This is from my own notes, based on a single offense, which is over 7 years old, except for crimes against persons, felony convictions for any sex-related crimes, or felony convictions for the distribution, manufacture, of controlled substance. And if you're up on fair housing, you know that is so. So you do have the right to ask questions. I have a couple of clients that this has been such a sticky wicket that they're referring their properties, refer all inquiries from a person with a felony. They get them to, they can go ahead and fill out the application. They want to pay the application fee, but it all goes to their HR department because they're leery of the on-site people being able to and not say the wrong things. And I'm going to tell you guys a story about that once we finish the poll. So you can have your policies in place. You can, is a reasonable basis to deny housing to an applicant. Most of the people in this industry use this. If it's a felony conviction for illegal manufacture, distribution of controlled substance within the past 7 years, we have the right to decline. Felony convictions for crimes resulting in bodily harm within the past 7 years, that is an opportunity to say no. Felony convictions for crimes resulting in damage or destruction to property like arson within the past 7 years. I actually got challenged on the arson comment because I was talking to someone with the government about this particular thing. And she said, well, a person with arson could have a mental disability. And I said, so are you saying that we're going to accommodate them and then watch them set the property on fire? So this is why we need to continue our training and know what HUD's saying. Felony convictions for sexual offense, we will decline them permanently at this point unless something changes. So you guys are very savvy. All right, give us another one.
Move on to number 4. To avoid crowded conditions during the COVID-19 pandemic, a local prison released low-level white-collar criminals early. Your residents demand to know if you rent any units to one of these released prisoners. If you do, must you tell them? Yes or no? Okay. People, a few more seconds for this. All right, so I'm going to cut you all off now. And the results. 13% said yes, and 88% said no. Anne, what do you say?
I will, I concur with the 88% that, remember, there is a privacy factor involved, and HUD is very, very strict about the privacy factor. That, I'll give you a quick example. That's why when we reserve a specific parking place for a handicapped person, and it's not a handicap parking place, it is a reserved parking place, that we do not use their apartment number, their phone number, their name, as this is reserved for apartment 207 or for Mary Sue Smith, because we are then disclosing that that person has a disability. So the last thing you want to do is disclose and create turmoil. If this person, if they get out early, and if they get out early, obviously they were, the prison system determined that they weren't going to be violent or come burn the property down, whatever. So my recommendation to you is that you not run around declaring anything. Same thing with COVID. We've had properties, I get a lot of emails about this. We know that we have a resident in building 4 who has COVID. Should we warn everybody? You can say that on the property there are a few cases or a case of COVID, but you don't disclose who it is, apartment numbers, because that is such a privacy factor. And of course, then you just want to, in your statement, we are upping even more all of our sanitation things, yada, yada, yada. So, but the answer to that is 88% is correct.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next and last question. To simplify the process and avoid saying the wrong thing, we should A, stop performing criminal background checks. B, deny applicants with any record of criminal conviction, regardless of how long ago it occurred or how serious the crime was. C, if screening reveals an applicant has any criminal record, refer the application to our attorney to resolve. D, have a written policy on what types of criminal records we will use to screen applicants. Okay, let's see what we get this time. A few more seconds. Okay, people are pretty quick to decide on this question. I'll end the poll. And no one picked A, and one person picked B, to deny applicants, regardless of how long ago their crime occurred or how serious it was. We have 8% chose C. If screening reveals an applicant has any criminal record, refer the application to our attorney. And 91% chose D. Have a written policy of what types of criminal records we will use to screen applicants. Anne, is that correct?
Okay, you guys are very savvy. I'm a little worried about the 1% person. So remember that, and this is not a law, this is the trend, this is what's happening in the industry, that if it was less than 7 years ago and it wasn't a sexual, well, that's the list again, let me just give it to you. In less than 7 years, illegal manufacture or distribution, felony convictions for crimes resulting in bodily harm within the last 7 years, felony convictions, damage, destruction in the past 7 years, that we will consider them as an applicant, felony convictions for sexual offenses ever. So just a reminder, and congratulations to those of you who have an attorney on board, 8% of you, that you can just run everything by them. So, but not everybody has that. Nobody ever has the financial luxury of doing that. So having a written policy. So I want to talk really fast, and I want to tell you all one of my best stories about this. And I think I shared it with you, Heather. one of my clients has 3 properties in Florida, and they're properties all over the United States, but 3 in Florida. And the same person called those 3 properties, and he was very disgruntled and very and this was his tone of voice. I just got out of prison and I need a place to live, and I need to know if I can qualify, if I can meet your criteria, because I have a felony and I want to know, I need a place to live. And the people who had not been trained, that's how I got hired. These people were like, oh my God. And they said, one of them said, I don't think you can qualify. And the other one said, probably not. And the other one said, don't even think about it. And so this guy was not only a felon, he was an attorney who'd been in prison. And he was calling not only apartment communities, but other types of business, looking for places to get to sue and to get money. He got to that particular company on 3 properties, $6,000 per property. He got $18,000 before they were able to realize what he was doing and stop. So this is why this is so important, that you don't let people agitate you. Don't let them choose your behavior. Have prepared answers. Have a very polite script. Pick it up, put it in front of you. Put it in front of you and say, thank you for asking, and we would be happy for you to come out and fill out an application. And just so you know, our company follows fair housing laws, and we yada, yada, yada. And I'd be happy to share that with anybody that wants it. But be prepared for this kind of thing, because they're slick and they know how to be agitated and they know how to get you anxious. So have a script, know what company policy is, know what the ruling says, and you will be fine.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Anne, and thank you everyone for joining us this month for our coffee break quiz. And yeah, we'll follow up in Fair Housing Coach on this topic. It's a real, interesting topic and very complicated. So thank you again, Anne, and thank you everyone.
Everybody be safe. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.